administration. But let's begin this hour with NBC News White House correspondent Aaron Gilchrist. Aaron, good morning. Let's begin with the president's interview with Fox News. We heard a little bit of it over the weekend in the lead up, of course, to the Super Bowl. What else are you learning about the president's stance when it comes to Gaza?
Well, he's been talking a lot about Gaza, Christine and Savannah, and I should note that as that interview with Fox News was airing last night, at roughly the same time, the president was in the Oval Office making remarks, and he was asked about Gaza as well. The ceasefire deal that Hamas has put on hold, a prisoner and hostage swap this Saturday has been put on hold by Hamas because it says Israel is shooting at Palestinians in Gaza. And so the president said, with that being on hold, that he believes that all of the remaining hostages should be released on Saturday by 12 o'clock, he said. And if not, as you noted in that sound you played earlier, all hell would break loose. He also did caveat that by saying it's really up to the Israelis. The Israelis might decide differently, but his belief was that the hostages, all of the remaining hostages, should be released. Now, at the same time, we know that President Trump has talked about the United States, about his administration taking ownership of that enclave and not allowing Palestinians to move back into it. Rather, they would be moved into other countries. You heard him reference Egypt and Jordan in particular. He was asked about that during this interview with Fox News. I want you to hear a little more of what he had to say about it.
So when you hear the pushback from the Middle East, what do you think?
I don't hear that much pushback. A lot of people thought it was a great idea. Really, a lot of people. And I'm not talking about big money for I just think it will be stabilized if the United States owns the Gaza Strip. If people aren't living in the Gaza Strip and Hamas is in there because nobody's there, people aren't there, nobody's going to be there. And later on it can be developed. You'll give some to Saudi Arabia.
So you're not saying U.S. troops?
No, you don't need no, Israel will watch it because it's right next to Israel.
Now, critics have called this effectively ethnic cleansing of Gaza, and we've also heard from many Arab countries say that they don't want to see Palestinians displaced and they don't want them moved into their countries, Christine and Savannah.
Yeah, Aaron, one of those countries is Jordan, and we said today that President Trump will be meeting with King Abdullah of Jordan. What's their stance right now? What do we expect to happen there?
Well, so this meeting is supposed to happen a little later this morning. It's interesting, I think, that we got the schedule from the White House for the president today, and it does not include a press conference between these two leaders. We saw the Israeli prime minister and the Japanese prime minister at the White House last week. There were news conferences with both of them. In this case, bilateral meeting, a lunch, a working lunch, and that's it. So the only time we'll see the two men together will be on the arrival and the departure. It's expected that this will come up. The idea of moving Palestinians into Jordan will come up with the Jordanian king, and that there will be pushback. There was a question put to President Trump in the Oval Office last night as to whether he would stop foreign aid to Jordan and to Egypt if they didn't take in Palestinians. And he said, and I'll read this, sure, why not? You mean if they don't agree? If they don't agree, I would conceivably withhold aid. So that's something that apparently is now on the table.
And Aaron, while we have you this morning, I want to ask you about some news out of Washington that's making waves here in New York City. The DOJ ordering federal prosecutors to drop those corruption charges against the New York City mayor, Eric Adams. That's according to a senior Justice Department official. What more can you tell us about this?
Yeah, this same official says that the acting deputy Deputy Attorney General has ordered that these charges be dropped and that they be dropped without prejudice, meaning that they could be refiled in the future. These corruption charges against the mayor of New York. They've not been dismissed yet. We did hear from Eric Adams' lawyer who said that this is a win, a victory for his team. And you might remember that this indictment came down in September of last year. And this memo from the acting attorney general suggests that it was too close to this year's mayoral primary coming up in June. And also that this indictment limited Adams' ability to work with President Trump to crack down on immigrants in New York City. And so we expect that the administration, once this happens, if it happens, a judge does have to review this order, that the case would be reviewed by the incoming Trump-appointed U.S. attorney in New York in the Southern District after the general election for mayor in November. And I think, Christine and Savannah, that is something that has some people wondering if this is politically motivated, that if these charges are dropped against the mayor, then there would be the Trump administration would be able to sort of hang that over Eric Adams' head and have him be more open to doing what the Trump administration wants him to do.
All right, Aaron, thank you so much for that.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.